still fresh. Okay. Aargau, Museum Aargau. 1, 2, 3. Welcome back with a new video brought to you by the Spadone project. Here is Nick and Julian. Today we are in Museum Aargau in Switzerland, specifically the depot of the museum, and we are bringing you an incredible and interesting two-handed sword. Before going on, of course, you can subscribe to the YouTube channel, and if you want, you can subscribe also to our Patreon page to support the project. So let's delve into the description. I would start with a hilt. First of all, I need to say it is pretty massive as a handle, as we many times have seen with Swiss production. In this case, is interesting for a couple of reasons. The main point might be the gilding applied to the pommel and to the hilt is something really unusual for this kind of weapon, especially because we know of other specimens with this exact style in the decoration of the finials, I would say, finials of the crossguard. And we know they are stored in the Bern depots, and none of it is gilded. And even if the pommel is slightly different, here we have some faceted shape, I think is octagonal, right? Yeah. And we asked some information to the depot staff about this gilding. We had some theory about that. It's not the only one, it's not the only sword with this treatment. And we discovered that there is something interesting about if you want to tell something on it.
Because what was made think, what is a bit strange about this is that some of the swords we measured here and that are similar are from the armory of the canton of Aargau. So these, we would assume, are similar to all the other armories. And we haven't seen other gilded examples neither in Bern nor Zurich, which are technically richer back in the day. So we were wondering when the gilding was applied. So we had some theories, but in the end, these came to the predecessor of the museum in 1903, and they were gilded already. Also, the gilding has rubbed off. So when we assume this is dated 1550 maybe, 15 in that area.
Around the turn of the mid.
We don't know if they were gilded there already or later, but surely before they came here. So at some point somebody thought,
maybe it's a good way to enrich the weapon.
But they were armory swords at that point, and that is very interesting. So maybe when they were out of use, somebody said,
yes,
let's make it look even more.
On the fireplace, maybe.
Yes.
And actually, all the features of the weapon suggests that is a really practical kind of sword.
Yes.
So if we want to tell something about the statistics, what we noticed is that the point of balance is pretty close to the crossguard. Is like 3 centimeters, just 3 centimeters from the crossguard.
Not trying to step your...
Yeah,
I don't know if that is so close to the cross.
Yes.
Which makes it feel very movable, nimble.
Yeah, and
put it away.
For weight here we are around 3 kilos, 0.6, so still pretty heavy. On average with other Swiss weapon of this size. What I find interesting is the cross-section in this case. We have said many occasions in other videos that the more usual, the most widespread cross-section for this size of weapon is hexagonal.
Exactly.
So better for cutting, but in this case we have a diamond cross-section. And paired with this really close to the crossguard point of balance and this really stubby tip, I would say this is on the range of the cutting weapons, but more towards something that you could use to stab to death someone. And even here is interesting, the ricasso. We have two pairing lugs or elsetti. They have no tip, so they are pretty square. They are really close to the crossguard, so we can assume that maybe was not the kind of weapon meant to be grabbed for some half swording and the kind of fighting that many times we hear about in when we talk about Zweihander.
I mean, I can still half sword, just
Yes,
not in the
of
ricasso.
course, with a little bit less of protection for the hand. And also I would say it's not really practical with these huge rings to grab it.
Absolutely.
They get in the way with the wrist. Yes, I think
The mark
yes,
looks like a
is some kind of gear with a cross. Or
Cross.
some bar protruding
Yeah.
on one side, inlaid in copper.
yes, or a brass,
Mm-hmm.
and or like a globe with the cross. And as you mentioned before, we have seen that in Bern on several swords, which hexagonal blades,
Yes, absolutely.
but probably from the same manufacturer.
Yes, because the ricasso is pretty much the same kind of decoration. Even here is slightly visible, but there's some circle.
Even
Yes,
even the Elsetti.
Yeah.
But also Aargau was part of the canton of Bern at that time. But I think even in Zurich we have seen similar. So as we said in other videos, they imported blades, mostly from Germany and Italy. And we see even spread in Switzerland from the same
Yes.
production centers.
In this case, I would totally exclude an Italian production of
Yes.
the blade because of the shape of the setti, the way is, let's say, molded the ricasso.
Yes.
No fallers at all.
Yes.
Pretty simple, practical.
Yes.
Yes, and
We even have seen like the same blade without the.
yes.
Exactly.
So they had differences, but the overall look is clearly connected.
Yes.
And I would say even this kind of crosscut in Bern we saw on a
Yes.
really huge blade with a
Yes.
really weird shape of Elsetti.
Yeah.
Let's see if we can find a
photo.
photo of it. But yes, it was massive, really
Yes.
heavy, and it had even the kind of plate on the crossguard. That is another feature that we will probably show you in the future in some weapons that are very common in some Swiss city collections. And yeah, anything else to point out?
We have pointed it out in our other videos, but again, we have a wrapping, a cord wrapping on the tang, so the grip has no leather here. It has tar on the cord wrap. It has some, Turk heads style decoration razors that are fixed here
With nails?
with nails, which we have also seen several times.
In Bern especially?
In Bern especially, so the historical connection between Aargau and Bern is there anyway. So it's not a surprise in that sense.
Okay.
Over length, I'm not sure if you mentioned
No.
that.
So we are around 1 meter and 6 to 7.
And the blade?
Blade is 1 meter and 15.
And while it's more a stabby blade, I have to say, holding it close at the edge, I feel the edge.
Yes.
You could still cut very nicely with it, I would say. So I like it. It's a nice weapon.
Cool. Okay. I think it's pretty
Much
much, yes. So again, you can subscribe to the YouTube channel. You can support us on Patreon. You find the links in the description. And that's it for this time. Thank you for watching and see you with the next video. Bye bye.